So going on this week, we actually have the Nightfall Fallen S.A.B.E.R as the Nightfall Ordeal. Not only is it the Nightfall Ordeal, but simultaneously it has double the loot. Now to even sweeten the pot even more, starting this Friday, I think at reset, you will also get double drops from Platinum, meaning not only from completing this Nightfall, but also completing it Platinum will result in you getting 4 times the loot. 4 times! Now the weapon that's dropping this week is Shadow Price, which we will be doing a review of here very soon. It's a 450 round per minute auto rifle with a ton of nasty rolls. And even though 450s aren't necessarily meta inside of PvP as of yet, I think it's coming. And the reason why I think it's coming is because think about it. We're in a rocket launcher meta. Hell, even in this strike right here, look at me. I'm using Wrist Runner. What is this? What is this, year 1? Needless to say, Bungie likes to do things in like loops, right? These annual meta sets. And even though Shadow Price might not be meta right now, as of this moment, does not mean it's not going to be meta in the future. And considering that sunsetting is no longer a problem, stocks on these weapons only go up, at least until they get nerfed. So let's talk about strategies on this Nightfall. Overall, this is actually a very easy Nightfall, and there's really 2 ways to do it. If you just want the slow and steady, complete it in 15 minutes with very low risk, by all means, 2 Warlocks, Phoenix Protocol, rocking Well of Radiance, and a single Titan with Ursa Furiosa Middle Tree Sentinel. That is by far the easiest way to get through this Nightfall. 15 minutes all day long. However, if you do want to optimize things and complete this Nightfall somewhere between 10 and 12 minutes, let's talk about how you can optimize this Nightfall best for you. Now, first up, let's go over these modifiers. And I do want to bring up again, and I said it in the past, I know that there is a Legend version, which is an easier version, only requires a power light level of 1300, whereas Master requires 1330. For the most part, if you are 1310 or above, I feel like you can definitely do Master. And even though they both say your Nightfall weapons are common drops, I can promise you Master is substantially more forgiving in its drops, meaning you get more drops. I know it says common. They both say common. That's not real, man. Master, more rewarding. A little more difficult, but way more rewarding. And not only is it more rewarding, if you stack it with certain things, like the Prosperity Vanguard mod on your Ghost, this too is supposed to increase the likelihood of you getting that weapon drop. And with it being double Nightfall rewards this week, there were times we were getting double Shadow Prices. And when it gets to Friday and you're getting 4 times the drops, yes, if RNG is in your favor, you will get 4 Shadow Prices at once. Kind of nuts. Really, really. If there was ever a time to do Nightfalls, now's the time. Now, for our modifiers, we have Scorched Earth, where your enemies actually throw grenades significantly more. You have Overload Champions and Barrier Champions. It's all you got to deal with. And as far as like shields, Void Shields at the boss room, and I think maybe a Servitor or 2 before, and Arc Shields. No need to bring Solar. Attrition is also a thing, which is why I did recommend like the 2 Well of Radiances with Ursa Furiosa. That does make this a lot easier, as there are times you will be one-shot a bunch due to the fact that you can't naturally recover. Now, our other mods for this strike include Match Game, Champions Mob, which is a lot more champions, and S.A.B.E.R Protocol, where you get incoming solar and environmental damage increase. Which kind of puts you in a sticky situation considering everything does arc damage, but the overload champions do solar damage. And if they get close to you with that shrapnel launcher, you are DED dead. So just don't get close to them. Now, there's a lot of overload champions. There's a decent amount of barrier champions, but overload is what you're going to be dealing with the most. There's a variety of ways you can take on overload champions. You can either take advantage of overload bows, especially with bows like Luminarch. We even did a run with Trinity Ghoul. This wasn't bad, but Luminarch was actually one of the best here to pair with overload rounds. I was kind of doing something a little different, as I was kind of looking for survivability over everything else, especially with my Ursa build and even on my Hunter, but I just rocked overload rounds on my submachine gun with Wrist Runner. Considering everything does do arc damage, this really allowed me to stay alive and power through, especially attrition, which keeps you close to death at all times. Wrist Runner was a big play here, guys. Really, really. I wouldn't necessarily say the whole team should route Wrist Runner, but for the guy that's like playing support, which is exactly what I'm doing, Wrist Runner was a big play there. And on top of that, when overload champions would group together and I was rocking Wrist Runner and it was chaining with Arc Conductor, it would actually result in both of those champions getting stunned. So it worked well in regards to just continually stunning and keeping me alive, as well as just shredding other ads. And like I said, everything does arc damage pretty much in this Nightfall. So having Arc Conductor available is not a difficult thing to do. The ships do arc damage. Most of the ads do arc damage. Hell, even the ground does arc damage. So you will have Arc Conductor. Now, like I said a second ago, if you just want the slow and steady, get through this thing, get done, 2 Warlocks with Well of Radiance, Phoenix Protocol, in a single time with Ursa Furiosa to deal with incoming damage. By the way, big tip for those rocking Ursa Furiosa, make sure you are not standing in the well when you are blocking. Still bugs out from time to time, and you will not get your super back. I was pleasantly surprised how well Ursa actually works in master content, because normally we need Grandmaster in order to get the most out of Ursa to give us back our super. We need lots of damage that is incoming in order to regenerate super energy for Ursa. Not the case here. Master was doing plenty of damage. I was taking a ton of damage and pretty much always had my super there to protect myself and my teammates. And considering there is a lot of things that are doing damage to you, especially stuff like around you, AoE damage from the ground, from the walls, Ursa is a really good insurance policy. And when you pair with Well of Radiance, it's even better because you can just chain protective supers back to back. The bad thing about Ursa is you do take one person out of the gunfight, so it is a little bit slower versus just having all three focus up doing damage together, which actually takes us to the next thing that we did. I hopped on my Hunter and Les actually rocked Chaos Reach. And the reason why we did this, he was going with Geomax, popping his super, shredding a bunch of ads, but before he would actually pop his super, I would apply stasis damage to my enemies. This required a lot of dodging, a lot of shurikens being thrown, a lot of dustfield grenades being chunked. I was also rocking a combination of Whisper of Torment, as well as Whisper of Shards and Whisper of Bonds to allow me to get my super back even faster. Aspect-wise, we were rocking Winter Shroud and Grim Harvest. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is the mod Focusing Lens allows for light abilities to do bonus damage to combatants affected by stasis. Now, this is a very, very good combination. If you have things loaded out in your neutral game, or if you're doing like I'm doing right here, which is like a combination of taking advantage of not just my neutral game, but I'm also taking advantage of Glacial Inheritance, which allows me to get more of my stasis super back upon casting my super. Pretty much everything I was doing was discharging stasis in some ways to buff the damage here for less. And it's a nice 25% damage buff for your teammates rocking light-based subclasses. Now, it would be best if both teammates were rocking an offensive-based subclass like Chaos Reach or Nova Bomb or pretty much anything but Well. Well is just one of those that obviously it's more of a support super, but considering that this Nightfall has attrition, you almost got to go with it. So this 25% buff was purely just for less, but it wasn't that difficult to apply stasis to all of our enemies, especially when you take advantage of things like Resonant Siphon, which allows you to gain stasis ability energy whenever you or a member of your fire team stuns a champion. You got that overload champion that has to get restunned over and over again. Boom, Siphon's going in, clutching up, giving you stasis ability back over and over again. As you're reapplying, as you're taking advantage of all your fragments, you're also allowing your teammates that are rocking offensive supers with Focusing Lens to get that 25% buff there and their light base abilities and supers. Now that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that is the Nightfall. A combination of things that always works well for us no matter what Nightfall you are doing is, of course, Radiant Light, Powerful Friends. I was rocking Taking Charge to allow me to become charged with light every time I picked up an orb. Considering we have Chaos Reach and Well of Radiance around us, orbs were constantly raining, as well as raining from our own masterworked weapons. And even though I do like the damage buff of High Energy Fire, I'm really relying on staying alive, freezing opponents, playing support, which is why Protective Light in combination with Arc Conductor from Wrist Runner was so clutch in keeping me alive. So guys, that is your Nightfall. Would I recommend doing it now? Well, only if you want to. I would say though that wait till this Friday. Like this Friday, I'm going to be grinding. You get 4 times the loot, which is an insane amount of loot from doing platinum. And I would highly suggest, especially considering you're already putting the time to do the master version of this Nightfall, kill all the champions, guys. Don't skip them, kill them. 9 times out of 10, you can't really skip them. And there were a few that despawn, like in the Warsat zone. I guess we capped it too fast. The captain despawned. Don't worry about it. For some reason, it despawned, but still counted toward platinum. So I wouldn't restart or anything. The rest of them though, you definitely want to deal with. You definitely want to kill them all. And considering that sniper rifles are really good against barrier champions, one of my favorite sniper rifles right now in the sandbox is Eye of Soul, but the Raid sniper rifle is also fantastic, if not even better. And Les and Bombad both were rocking Anarchy, which even though I do believe we're in a rocket launcher meta to some extent, Anarchy in terms of ammo conservation is still the best. Now, I love this Code Duello. This thing comes with auto-loading holster, impact casing, and lasting impression. And I think the way the damage works is lasting impression does like 19% more damage and Frenzy does 20% more damage. So essentially, I don't have to wait for something to be procced, even though I do love Frenzy. Frenzy's a fantastic perk, but for how I'm using this rocket launcher, this lasting impression perk was doing phenomenal for me. On top of that, dude, I don't know what it is. Rocket launcher shots with lasting impression are so easy to guide into your target, right? It's like you're a Sentinel, man. You just guide it in, attach it, and watch it go kabloomy. The only downside, and it is a major downside is don't get close to that thing when it blows up. It's a few seconds delayed and then it blows up and it will take you out. I've got like this mental stop where I shoot a rocket at an enemy, it implants on them, and for some reason, I just want to hug the enemy, which naturally results in me dying. So don't do that. Outside of that, guys, this is a very, very rewarding Nightfall. On top of being a very fun Nightfall from D1, I'm happy to see it back here in D2. Loot drops like this don't come around often for Destiny, so take advantage of it when it does. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.